So guys, the new project car reveal is here. Now, I'm going to reveal it to you, but then we're going to go quickly into what actually happened, because the car I bought did not actually even make it home. It broke down about 50 minutes or so from Weymouth, and that was that. All of that is to come, but first I'm going to show you the car, run you around the three issues with it. One that has been fixed by now. As you can tell by my hair looking so messy, I've had no car for the past few days because I've been trying to resolve said problem, which you're going to find out about. But let's reveal the car, let's show you around it, and we'll discuss what's wrong with it. And then we're going to go straight to, or back in time, to when I actually bought it and it left me stranded. So guys, without further ado, let's head on over and look at my new project car that did leave me stranded when I bought it. So what have I bought? So this is a 2007 Audi A8. Now, unfortunately, I must admit, I did want a long wheelbase, but it so turned out the vehicle that I was swapping the Volvo with was short wheelbase. So unfortunately, it's short wheelbase, but there's one thing that makes up for it massively, and that is powered by a 4.2 litre twin turbo diesel V8. So yeah, I'm now dailying a V8 twin turbo, and this one in particular is a stage 2. I don't deal with stages, but let's just say there's been some adaptations made to it, and it is running 400 bhp and 800 newton meters, which is rather crazy. Now you're thinking that sounds perfect, but why did it leave you stranded? So when I bought the car, or swapped it for the Volvo, I gave the guy £400 on top, because the Audi is much more of a car than the Volvo. The Volvo had its issues, and the Audi had a power steering leak, so you're probably guessing what's happened. And basically what actually happened is I drove it back to Yeovil to see Chris, my friend, who subsequently obviously wanted to test drive the very quick Audi. And he did, and in doing so he drove it so hard that he actually split the power steering hose. Obviously, you know, I should have thought better, but here we are now. So in a minute you're going to see what happened, me getting it towed, the guy coming out and fixing all that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been looking very sorry for itself, and what you're seeing it here is literally how I bought it. This is now 3 days later, and I'm now finally getting to drive it again, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm going to run you through the other issues. So there's 3 I mentioned. One was the power steering hose. We've replaced it now. It was the one running right at the back of the engine. It was a nightmare, but we've got it sorted. And then there are 2 other problems. So I'm going to demonstrate. Ready? So the passenger door handle, or somewhere in the assembly of the door, it doesn't work, but that only doesn't work when you lock the car and then unlock it for the first time. So if I lock it, come away, come back to the car, then unlock it, this door, as I've done here, won't open. So once I've opened it from the inside, as long as the car is locked again, you can go in and out all day long. So I think there's something in the handle to do with the locking mechanism that isn't exactly right. So that's rather annoying. All my passengers will have to literally General Lee jump in through the window for it. So that's one of the problems. And the other problem, I will throw you on the camera in my hand and we will go and have a look at. Okay then, so let's have a little look around it. So the third issue, it's rather odd actually. The third issue is, you can see here, we've got damage on the rear driver's door. We have appear to have sort of, I don't know what's happened here, but part of this trim's missing, so it must have, you know, got caught in here and ripped back. So this looks, I must admit, rather awful. In terms of overall around the car, I'll show you, but it's actually pretty decent, but this is pretty awful. So I have actually got a replacement part coming, which I'm going to install at some point. It just really ruins the look of the car. And this is basically the last year of the pre-facelift. 2007 was literally the crossover. This, I think, is early 2007, which still makes it a pre-facelift. And this is sat on the, what they class or call as the turbine 19-inch rims, which I think actually are quite cool. The only other thing that I don't like about them is I think they age the car a little bit, but I think they're really cool. Now you're probably looking at it and thinking, what is going on with the fitment? So this is already on lowering links. If you don't know what they are basically an adjustable pole that you replace the standard sensor arms for, which you can adjust in length. So the car still thinks it's sitting on its preset height settings, but you've actually shortened it with a shorter stick. So this is, again, for those that don't know, on air ride. So this is it sat in its lowest setting, and yes, it can be driven like this. This is actually in dynamic mode, which is where the suspension is actually at its stiffest and most performance orientated. But I tend to waft around in comfort mode just because it rides a little bit higher and it's just what the car is for. So yeah, it's a beast. The 4.2 TDI itself is very rare. I don't know whether I'm going to keep the badges or debadge it, I'm not too sure. All I do know is though, is I definitely need to straight pipe it because it is way too quiet. But it's decent. And also, I got another thing I wanted, which was silver with a black interior and with the 21-way adjustable seats. But we'll talk more about spec and features in a later video. So we're going to crack on now and start the video where it actually began, with this thing broken. So then this happened. Stuck in a bus stop on the way home because power steering is literally pissing out of a split in the power steering pipe at the back of the engine, and I have no power steering and no fluid, so I've stopped to save the pump from imploding, and I'm now waiting on recovery. So guys, this is the sorry state that you meet my Audi in. Literally 24 hours, or within the 24 hours I've only it's like this. So the hose blew on the way back. Now obviously, as I just told you, we knew it was leaking when I bought it, but it did blow on the way back about an hour or so from home, which was ideal. So what I've done is I've removed the whole arch here because the pump, because the reservoir housing sits here. So if you see through there, there is a hose that's been removed, and that is the one that has come off. So I've removed the hose at this side, which runs off down into the reservoir, and around at the other side I have taken off the banjo fitting. Now you're wondering, why have I got the rope? That's because tomorrow, when I pull the hose through to remove it, the string will go through and follow all the way through, so we can pull the new hose back through, because as you can see, you can only access it through both of the arches. So yeah, I've loosened the hose that is leaking, and that is ready to come, and I had to have it towed back from Yeovil due to the distance. So I'm going to put a little photo up now, a big shout out to the guys that did recover me, and my breakdown cover wasn't active because I'd changed the reg over on that day. I had no breakdown cover for 2 days, so I was basically stuck. So thank you to Matt and Jensen for doing that for me. They have saved my ass. So yeah, so we are back, and I'm waiting for the guy to come tomorrow to change the hose. Once the hose is fitted, hopefully that is the only leaking hose, and we can get this back up and running. So yeah, the Audi didn't get me home, but yeah, there we are. And another thing I'm dealing with right now, lovely V8, is I have removed the airbox here, because the reservoir, in order to get to it, you have to take the airbox, or top of the airbox, and the filter out, and there's so much overspill that's seeped into the sensor, been sucked in through the intake pipe, down the charge pipe and the rest of it. So I'm going to show that now. I've taken it apart and I'm going to clean it, but basically once that's all clean, I'm going to put the filter back in, wait for the guys to do the pump, install the pipe back on, and then we're fine. This steering pump on here has probably only ran for about 30 seconds to a minute, with very little fluid in, because I got it recovered back here. I just drove it into the estate to park up, so the pump should be fine. But yeah, what an interesting start to Audi ownership, but at the same time I knew it was going to happen, just not so abruptly. Here is the bottom of the air filter housing. As you can see, it is absolutely
disgusting. I'm going to put gloves on because it's genuinely gross. I've managed to remove the centerpiece with the sensor, so I can take that out. I had to clean that by hand with sort of very dry, very dry cloth with a little bit of sort of maintenance spray, but nothing more, just because of the sensor. Don't want to cause any damage. But the exterior tub, I'm literally going to take this centerpiece out. I'm going to clean the whole lot out because that is genuinely absolutely soaking wet. And what's been doing is where they've obviously overspilled it, it's been sucking through into here and going down into the charge pipe to the turbo. So yeah. Also, the bottom feed or water release feed seems to be full of some sort of bird matter, so we will clean that out as well, because obviously we want the Audi running as best it can. So I'm going to show you the before and the after. So this is the housing for the sensor, which you can see is a bit oily. So bad, isn't it? So this I'm going to have to sort of be careful not putting too much water and solution on, but that's going to need cleaning. It's disgraceful. And then the bottom of this is actually soaking wet. Now in this tube here, which I'm assuming this is all back to me, so it's all new, but oh my god, that's disgusting. It does come out. Oh, there we go. So in here, this is soft, right, and then to here it goes hard. Some sort of animal's been storing its house contents in here. Look. Oh my god! It's a collection of crap in there, probably because it's got this steering fluid inside it. So it's gonna be good if I get water inside there, isn't it? Jesus Christ. So, Christ, there's a lot in there. So yeah, the car's not all bad. This is just the problem I knew I had when I bought it. And on top of the other one we've already mentioned with the door, that's it. It's pretty much a sound car, to be fair. There we are. So all of the components are back and now drying, ready to be put back together. So that's one other thing sorted. So there we are, back in there. Back in there, I've got the hose to go from the bumper intake into the air filter. That goes back on afterwards. The power steering fluid reservoir is full. This is all cleaned out now. So basically, I'm going to be installing the pipe back in. And then we're going to start the car as it is here on the ramps. We're going to pump the fluid for the steering rack while it's up in the air. And then while I'm here, obviously I'm going to check both sides for any leaks, because I'm sure it's just a single pipe that's leaking, but we need to make sure there's no leaks, so I'll be under there checking all that out. And then this, obviously the cap will be open while we're doing this, so if we need to fill it up once we've then pumped it all through, I can refill it, so I can get the air filter and all the housing back on properly this time, with all the screws in. And it will just be putting back the arches, and then we are back on the road, which is when I can actually record the rest of the video that you've already seen instead. So there we are, the pipe has been replaced. Let's get the car back together.
So there we are, guys. We are now back up and running. Back to where we are today, with no leak in power and steering. And I'm going to show you, that's the wrong thing. They've literally put two handles in here, which one's for the storage holder and one's for the actual bonnet. And they always end up pulling the wrong one. So yeah, a 4.2 V8 diesel, interesting. And there it is in all its beauty. It's just a big fat wallowing engine bay cover. But that is, underneath there, it's just over 400 horsepower of diesel brute. And it's the first time I've ever experienced 800 Newton meters. Now, it's just bonkers. The car's quite heavy, obviously, and it's all-wheel drive, so it's not going to be as aggressive as having, say, a rear-wheel drive or a front-wheel drive car. But yeah, it's pretty bonkers, and the smell of power steering fluid is now slowly dissipating, which is great. So guys, yeah, tell me what you think of the new A8. What are we thinking? It is on 170,000 miles, but I've got very extensive paperwork. The timing chain has actually been done at some point, along with new turbos. So it's actually quite a good example, apart from a few things. The biggest question I really have is, do I change the wheels, or do I keep them? And I will be videoing all the modifications that do come. One of the main ones being, for a start, is I want to get some more spacerage on the front because they're tucked in way too much. Spacers have come today, but I need to get the standard bolts. So there are things coming, but basically it's just going to be straight piped, and I'm going to do some visually appealing modifications because I really want to hear that V8. And maybe we'll do some rolling road work and see what it's actually running and see if we can improve it in any way as well. But there it is, guys. It was short and sweet. And like I said, it didn't start how I expected it to, but we're here and now, and this is my new project car, so I hope you guys enjoy the series that's coming. And yeah, this is honestly the perfect car for me. It is amazing, so let's hope I can keep it for more than a few months. So guys, I will see you very soon in the next video of the A8, but for now, I'll catch you all in the next one.